Hello, I want to talk about reentrant tuning, or very specifically in this case with guitar. I'm going to talk about what's called Nashville style tuning or high strung tuning, and reentrant tuning. I'll explain a little more, but I wanted to start by looking at the 12 string because it's got some of that woven into it in its harmonics. And then we're going to jump over to my 6 string Gretsch and show you what I did with it for a reentrant Nashville style tuning. But if you hear the 12 string, you hear a harmony. And what you can see, you got your double stage strings, but when you get here to your E and B strings, those are identical. They're just a double stage. But when you get to the G and lower, you can see that the strings, not all of them are wound. They're an octave apart. So if you hear your G string, and then you hear the octave, and that was the D, and then the A. And of course, I know some of you might be listening thinking, that doesn't sound quite like a G note. If you have those kind of ears, that's great. But what it is I tune my 12 string -2 because I like the flexibility of that. And so that's really, at this point, that G string is playing an F. But that's a whole nother thing. Get that sound with the harmonics. Now what happens if you take a normal guitar and you string it with the octave strings of a 12 string? You get Nashville style tuning, which we've done. And so if we grab this Gretsch Rancher of mine and we hear it, that's what I've done. And that gives reentrant tuning. So you'll notice I have a capo. I'm capoed at 1, and the reason being because my nut that's in place is set up for regular guitar strings, and which causes and I have the action close, and so what that does is it causes these smaller strings of the 12 string octave to drop into the grooves of the nut a little further, and you get a lot of fret buzz. But by capoing the first fret and just tune it to standard tuning there, I get a good clear note, and that's what I've done. So what you have on reentrant, it's anytime a standard string starts over again, so going in a direction. So for example, if you start here on a standard guitar, it goes lower, going as you go up this direction, it goes, the strings normally get lower. So you can hear that in the E and the B. There's the E, there's the B, but when you go to the G, it starts high again. So that's reentrant. Examples of reentrant tuned instruments, the sitar, but we could go a little closer to home and think in terms of the ukulele. It has a reentrant tuning on that high G string. The banjo is a reentrant tuning because it has that drone G that's high. The Mexican vihuela is reentrant tuning. And maybe some of you remember I did a video on making a 5-string Mexican vihuela out of a cheap little guitar, and I played it, and it actually sounded pretty good. This is essentially the same thing, but with 6 strings instead of 5. And the reason they call it Nashville tuning is a lot of times they'll tune a standard guitar and have someone with the Nashville tuning. When you play them together, it actually sounds like you're playing one 12-string guitar for the most part, and which is kind of neat. I tend to just play my 12-string guitar, but I do think that Nashville tuning can stand on its own anyhow. And so I just thought I'd just play a couple little things here so we can hear what that sounds like. But if we listen to it, first of all, going from the bottom here, our high E string, we can hear it reiterate or re-enter and start high again and go back down low. So here's our high E. And here's our B string. Then we go to our G, which is high, and then we go to the D and the A and the E again. And this is standard tuning. And these get used in a lot of different ways. If I play, if I put the key into D instead of A minor, so it's a pretty easy thing to do. What I've been thinking about playing around with that for a while, and it so happened I put a new set of strings on my 12 string. I was wanting to try some a different brand and so on and so forth, and I kept the ones I took off of it, which were elixirs, but I've been playing them for a while, and so they're used strings. And I thought, well, I kept them, and I thought, well, let me try the reentrant tuning. This guitar was needing some new strings anyhow. And when I wear these out, I've got the whole other side of that I can put on as a standard tuning guitar. So I still have 6 more strings out of that set I took off the 12 string I get to use again. And so that's kind of fun. And what I want to tell you about this is, you know, a lot of times you'll hear someone try something different with an instrument on YouTube, and I'm not criticizing, but they'll do that, and you can see they've got a mic in front of the guitar, they're plugged in, or you know, these things are happening, or it's just off camera. There's a microphone, and I'm not doing that. I just want to make that clear. And I'm not criticizing those that do. That's great. But you know, a lot can be done with sound support, and sound support can hide a multitude of sins. But you don't really get to hear the instrument acoustically in its organic state. And so, just so you're wondering, how do I record this? My iPhone is in a stand facing me, and there's nothing plugged into it, no extra mic, nothing. It's just my iPhone doing a reverse video, like a selfie video type of thing, in a stand. And so this is, when you hear this acoustically, that's the sound you're getting. And same thing with the 12 string. When you heard that acoustically, that's the sound these instruments make without being plugged in, and without an extra mic or a system. There's no EQ, there are no effects, there's nothing extra. It's just me playing it as is. So, and that's the reason I mention that. I think that's really important when we're talking about Nashville tuning on an instrument. So we really realize this is the sound. It's very pretty, kind of airy and ethereal sounding. So that's reentrant tuning in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed the video and this week's guitar talk. I might do some more with that. I'm planning on the next couple videos. We're doing a little bit of work with some scales. I was doing some G position scales, first position for a while there. I think I'm going to work on a diagonal G scale, which will take us up to another place to play G. G scales. I'll be using a different guitar because this one will probably still be reentrant tuning, and that's what I'm planning on doing after this video, is to do a diagonal scale in G that works you up from first position up here and play back down. It's a pentatonic diagonal scale, and we'll talk about that. But a lot of fun, and hope you enjoy that. Lord bless you till we see each other again.